All right. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on that subject. Of course, nefarious actors can intercept that information, and we know there's just lots of scams out there. There are lots of scammers out there. And one of my big goals for my audience is to protect you from scammers. There are so many bad actors in the world, and they are getting more and more sophisticated. Their hope and wish is that you will continue to use technology, but not be informed of how it works, right? They want you to say things like, well, I can't figure it out, but you use it anyway. Or I don't really understand what's happening, and you use it anyway. They're crying tears of joy when you make those decisions, because they know that is an opportunity for them to deceive you. And so this information that I'm sharing, that's the exact purpose for it, is for you not to get scammed. So you have awareness of what's taking place, right? Not having just a basic understanding of things like email, it's like leaving the front door of your house wide open, windows and doors, and your valuables just lined up out front. Right? It's asking for someone to take what you worked hard to earn and protect. Instead, let's commit to a very different mindset, right? The mindset is, I don't need to be an expert, but I'm no dummy, right? I don't need to be an expert, but I'm no dummy. And when we learn these rules, you are going to be protected from scammers. And of course, that is the bad, right? The ugly. We have advanced from bad to worse. The ugly of email is phishing attempts, right? And they hope that you won't pay attention to the tricks that they have up their sleeves, right? So I'm going to give you some tips on how to spot these things, right? And how to protect yourself as a result. You'll notice that phishing is clearly spelled incorrectly if you're referring to going to place a hook attached to a line with some bait in the water for a fish to get. It's clearly spelled different, but it is very similar in its concept. The concept is very, very similar. What they're looking to do is place some sort of psychologically enticing information in front of you in the hope that you won't pay attention to the details and that you'll just follow their instructions. So think back to your physical mailbox, right? Think back to your physical mailbox. When you'd get that big pile of letters, maybe there'd be one that was pink or yellow, a bright color, and on the front, normally there's nothing on the front of a letter, right? But this one would say you may have already won. You might have already won. Lots of exclamation points. Open to get more information. And your first thought is, what did I even apply? Did I apply to win anything? I have no idea what this is about. See, the sender hoped that they could get you to open it and potentially maybe send them some information or some money, right? They call that mailbox phishing. And they do the exact same thing with email. So it only works, right? This only works for the scammers if and only if we are curious and our curiosity makes us gullible, right? And remember, you don't have to be an expert, but you're no dummy, right? We're going to talk about how to spot phishing attempts and then how to react. How to spot them and then how to react. So there's 3 rules. Number 1, we need to recognize it, right? There's always common signs when it comes to phishing attempts. The most typical one that they will do is that they will use words, whether in the subject line or in the body of the email, that is urgent or maybe emotionally appealing. Things that make it seem like if you don't take some sort of action, you're going to miss out, or you're going to lose something, or you're going to be at risk of something. For example, they may say you've got 30 days to do XYZ at this website, or you risk losing something, right? They put some sort of penalty in front of you, or they'll say, oh, you've got a gift card or a gift certificate waiting for you, but you only have so many days to claim it, right? That sort of language, it should always raise a red flag, right? You should always think, now, wait a minute. There's something fishy about that, pun intended, right? Another sign, if they ask you for any personal or financial information, no company is going to ask you for this information via email. I promise you, they will never, ever ask you for personal information, especially information that would identify you personally. For example, your driver's license number, your passport number, if your country has social security, your social security number, or your green card number. No company, no government entity would ever ask you for these things via email, right? And rarely would they do so over the phone. Sometimes they do, but very, very rarely. So if they're asking you in the email for some sort of personally identifiable information, that is a sign that this is probably a phishing attempt. Also, if you notice that there is a misspelling in the email address, this is 100% a sign that this is a phishing attempt. If the domain, right? Remember, we said there's three parts: the username, the @ symbol, and the domain, whatever.com. If there is a misspelling in the whatever.com, or it's slightly different from what you're accustomed to seeing, for example, if it says that it's from customer support at Amazon.com, but Amazon is spelled with 3 A's instead of Amazon, it's spelled Amazan, that is a phishing attempt, right? They are definitely trying to get you. And it may say, when you look at it, it may say that it's from customer support at Amazon.com. But if you just tap that email address, it will show you the actual name, the actual email address of the sender. And if those two things don't match, or if it doesn't match the name of that website, this is a phishing attempt, right? Any of these things, a misspelled email address, if they put a link in the email and you can tell there's a misspelling in the link, always a sign. So the first thing we need to do is recognize that these are phishing attempts, right? You want to commit these to memory, and every single time you get an email, you want to check these things. Again, you don't have to be an expert, but you're no dummy. Take the time each time to look at these things. You can also look for things like overly perfect grammar or the use of long dashes. That's a sign that a person has used AI to write that email, which is a sign that it's probably some sort of phishing attempt. These things, once you recognize it, your next step is to resist. You may feel a level of curiosity, right? You may feel tempted to see. Maybe you could use a $450 gift card from Dick's Sporting Goods, right? Sure, that's enticing, but you have to resist the curiosity, because if it seems too good to be true, it usually is, especially if they're asking you for personally identifiable information in that email or on that website, right? That's a sign that no, absolutely not. That you don't necessarily even need to report that you've received a phishing attempt. You can simply take the last step, which is to delete it, right? Just delete it. There's no need to click unsubscribe. There's no need to do anything. Just delete the email, right? As soon as you recognize it's a phishing attempt, delete it. So recognize it, resist the curiosity of opening up and seeing if you won something, and delete it, right? It may look official. It may seem legitimate. Don't let your curiosity get the best. As we all know, curiosity killed the cat, right? Don't give in to your curiosity. You always want to make sure that you're not giving them an easy opportunity. Some additional safety rules as it relates. Well, let's pause for a second. We've all had this experience, right? We've all received some sort of phishing attempt in our email. Every single one of us. I work in technology, so I see this very frequently. The title that I have on LinkedIn makes people think that I'm someone really important, even though I'm really not. And so I get phishing attempts constantly. People are always trying to send me these. If you've ever received one, feel free to type it in the comments or in the chat. I'd love to hear it. And it's good for other people to see them, right? It's good for us to share these experiences. So even if you're watching the recording of this and it's days, months, or even years after this live stream, type in the chat some phishing emails that you've received, right? That look convincing. While you're doing that, I want to tell you a story. A friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, I went to visit him last week, and he also works online like I do. And he's a young man, maybe he's young to me, he's early 30s, right? And he lost his cell phone. He bought a brand new iPhone just in July, and right now it's September. So he's only had this phone, I think, 6 weeks, right? He bought it overseas because in America, iPhones don't allow you to put certain SIM cards in. And so he bought it overseas so he could put a couple of SIM cards in it because we all live abroad. And interestingly, he lost this phone. And so if you're an iPhone user, you know you have the Find My Phone functionality, and Android users have something very similar. And so once your phone has been located, usually you get an email from Apple and they tell you, hey, we found your phone. Go to the Find My Phone or .iCloud or whatever the website is, right? They tell you go and you can look at where your phone is. So he actually got a email that told him, hey, we found your phone. Go to the website and you can find where it is. Within minutes of him receiving that email, he received an additional email and a text message, right? And it said the exact same thing. Hey, we found your phone. Go to find it. Now, when he got to the website, he noticed that the phone was not signed in. It showed him its most recent location, which was over 100 miles from where we live, but it didn't show it actively online. He thought that was suspicious, but when he read the text message, it said, hey, we found your phone. We want to help you recover it. We just need your login, your passcode that's used to open the phone. We will, inform the person that's found it how to contact you. And he sent them the passcode to open his phone. Well, you know what happened, right? But when he looked at the link, right, when he went to that link to share that passcode, it was so close to the right thing. But instead of saying at iCloud.com, it said t-iCloud.com. It was a different website, right? It looked like Apple. Everything else looked legitimate. Now, he got the email that told him one thing. He got a text message that told him something similar. But this was a very sophisticated phishing attempt. Of course, he has now lost that phone. This is not an old person. This is a young person. So they use this emotional language in the hopes that we won't be paying attention. These are things that happen, and it's not we're not personally making a mistake if we receive a phishing email. That's just something that happens. But we have to resist that curiosity, right? If it seems shady, it is shady, right? Well, you don't have to wonder, it is. Let's just hit on a couple safety rules before we wrap up for today. First of all, never click a link in an email that you were not expecting. It's just a simple rule. Don't click the link. If you're on your computer, you can hover over the link and it will pop up the actual address that link goes to. You can confirm, right? You can also, as we said, double check the sender's email address, right? It's just like checking that return address on an email. Read it carefully. And if you hover over it, if you're on a computer, or you tap on it, if you're on an email, not the email itself, but the name of the user, it will show you their email address. Double check. Make sure that it's from a legitimate company. Also, you want to use strong passwords. Don't use things like your birthday or your anniversary date, because these things are very easy to find online because they're registered with the government. So you can type in your name and birthday, and I guarantee you in the first few results, your birthday will pop up. You're not tricking anyone by using your birthday as a password. So do something more complicated. Include some symbols, uppercase, lowercase, symbols, numbers. Those things are more complicated. They're harder to guess. They're harder. There's something called a brute force attack where they just type in various combinations. That makes it almost impossible for someone using a regular computer to brute force. And if you know how, set up two-step verification or multi-factor verification. Again, we're going to talk about this next week. I'll show you how to do it, but it's extremely important. I know it's annoying, but we don't want to be dummies. We just have to be safe. And of course, if it's obvious spam or it's an obvious phishing attempt, don't let your curiosity get the best of you. Just delete it. There's no need to investigate and check into it. Don't waste your time or your energy.